Hello. So in this video, my partner chooses 3 books from my shelf for me to read, and they were convincing enough that I allowed them 1 book from their shelf. So I hope you enjoy, and if not, sorry. Text me separately. Do you use a mic in your videos? The audio is really crisp. Yeah, I'm screwed. The first book I have to read in this video is Fun Home! I just bought this. This is my most recent buy. Fun Home, a family tragic comic by Alison Bechdel, queen of the Bechdel test. Okay, it is a graphic novel. And I got it because I've heard of the musical and the song, what is it called? Like Ring of Keys? I heard that recently. Yeah, it's like, yeah. Next! The next book I have to read for this video is Fat and Queer, an anthology of queer and trans bodies and lives. It's pretty straightforward. Stories about fat and queer folk. Great. This is the last one from my bookshelf. The final one from my bookshelf I have to read. It's a paperback. Hold on, let's see if I can guess it. Wait, okay, it's Cersei, I bet. Oh, Hunger by Roxane Gay. Oh, I'm gonna get depressed. Okay. I will allow 1 book from their shelf. So, another paperback. Is this one Cersei? Paul Takes the Form of a Mortal Girl, a novel by Andrea Lawlor. Tight, deep, hot. Ooh, oh, smut. Difficult to quote in a family newspaper. Good one. Okay, hello. I'm gonna start with the book that is not from my bookshelf. So Paul Takes the Form of a Mortal Girl. I have to say it slowly because I keep saying Paul Takes the Form of a Mortal Girl. It's 1993 and Paul Polydorus actually, I'm not gonna read the synopsis until I'm like halfway through. So I'm just gonna go in not knowing what it's about. And yeah, I think it's gonna be good. I'm not quite at the halfway point. I'm 147 pages in and it is 341 pages. So a little bit early for a check-in, but I just needed to talk about it. Now we can talk about what it's about because I'm like enough of the way in. It's 1993 and Paul tends bar at the only gay club in a university town, buzzing with politics and partying. He studies queer theory, has a dyke best friend, and makes zines. And is a flaneur with a rich dating life. But Paul's also got a secret. He's a shapeshifter. So it is about a young 21, 22-year-old named Paul who can shapeshift his gender so he can remove his Adam's apple or fill out a bra or switch genitalia. It is something that takes effort the same way that, I don't know, flying takes effort. Like, it takes a lot of concentration and effort to do it. Yes, this is very queer, very trans, very lovesick. The first 70 or so pages are just like sexcapades. And I was like, okay, what is this book about? Because so far it's just about this guy Paul living a hedonistic life and getting it on with men, women, you know, anyone. Right at the point where I was like, I don't get this. Is this gonna be the whole book? Right at that point where I started to think that, a plot happens, or like more of a plot happens. Paul is lovesick and pathetic in a way that is a little bit too much of a mirror. I'm like, ooh, yeah, having big feelings and having a crush it does feel like this, and it does kind of bring out the worst in a person sometimes. A little bit too real on the pathetic front, and I'm like, yikes. But yeah, also I love this cover. Like, I love the pink fuchsia. So far, a romp. This does not maintain its rompness. Like, I'm actually sort of heartbroken and angry, and I just got to page 196. Paul is annoying and unethical in a lot of ways, and lost, and truly an anti-hero of sorts. But they're also really funny, like genuinely funny and charming and smart and quippy. And therefore, I am on their side. Like, I really am. I'm on their side. Something has just occurred, and I'm like, I'm angry that they're feeling hurt, and I'm angry that this happened to them, and I'm like ready to duke it out with anyone. So I already recorded my update on Paul Takes the Form of a Mortal Girl. Turned out my microphone wasn't plugged all the way in, so there was no sound to the video. So can you hear the people outside? They're like a moving company. I mean, hey, bonus content if you can hear the people outside having a conversation. Okay. This book is very frustrating. The story itself, or maybe it's not the story, maybe it's me. Maybe it's the fact that, like, none of these words are in the Bible. No, none of these words made me think that I'd be getting myself into something truly heartbreaking. Like, it's not just like, ooh, ah, ee. No. Paul Takes the Form of a Mortal Girl is frustrating in the same way that a friend calling you with the same problem over and over and over again would be frustrating. Specifically if there's a friend you really, really love. Because you're like, bro, I cannot help you. Like, you know at this point what you should and shouldn't be doing. You keep making the wrong decision. Like, I feel helpless because all I can do is watch you I can't make these decisions for you. And you keep freaking sucking. You keep making the wrong decision. And now I have to watch you suffer the consequences. I have to watch you be hurt. Hi, it's editing me. Was anyone else scared there for a second? Like, why was I for real so mad? Why was I so mad? Like, I was sitting someone down for an intervention. I'm so sorry for the vibes. Like, I was truly upset, and I don't know why. It's just a book. This is how I feel. Paul, girl, you can't keep doing this to yourself. I feel like I'm just talking in circles because I don't know how to talk about this, because I genuinely think this is an incredible book. I think Andrea Lawlor is an incredible author. I think they did an incredible job of just writing. The actual writing is so funny, and the way they choose to present Paul's thoughts are so funny. Like, Paul is hilarious. And so there's a humorous undercurrent throughout the whole thing, just because Paul is funny. Like, Paul is funny. And even when the worst things are happening, because we're in the mind of Paul and the way Paul thinks, it's funny. And this book, like, explores the concept of gender in a way I've never seen it explored in this lens before. You know, it's very magical realism. Obviously, it's about Paul, who can switch genders. And it's very important. It's very good, but it's very heartbreaking. It's very frustrating. It's very hilarious. It's definitely a roller coaster. Not me being frustrated that a book has multiple dimensions. Not me being frustrated that a book is layered. Clearly, I haven't been reading very good things, but I'm like, what? I'm sad and I'm laughing and I'm angry. I don't know if I can. I just want to say this is hilarious. I think if you're into queer literature, this is like a must. It is tight, deep, hot, smut, difficult to quote in a family newspaper. It is all of that. It's very, very promiscuous. It's also really hard to get through and wade through because freaking Andrea Lawlor tricked us into loving Paul. And now we have to watch this dummy make terrible decisions and get hurt and be the source of someone getting hurt and be the victim of hurt. Yeah, it's really sad. I think that's my big takeaway. Like, this is heartbreaking, and I don't know that the book quite advertises that. This is me 3 seconds later, but I changed the angle so it feels a little different. I also started Hunger by Roxane Gay. Oh my God, I actually don't even want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about this until I'm halfway through. I'm not halfway through yet. I'm about a third of the way. I would just say I'm listening to this on audio because Roxane Gay is actually reading the audiobook, and I think it's important to hear it in her own voice. That first hour that I listened to it, because I was on an hour drive, I had a lump in my throat and my jaw was so clenched for the entire first hour of this book. And I was physically uncomfortable and I felt sick. And I actually, literally not to be dramatic, but I actually was like, am I gonna throw up? So that's the kind of memoir this is. Not am I gonna throw up because they're eating worms. Am I gonna throw up because I have to learn about the assault, the sexual assault that happened to this author. So I'm gonna keep listening to it, and I think I'm gonna like wash my dishes while I do so. Actually, my last video I said I was gonna clean the stove. I didn't do that. So maybe today I will clean the stove. I actually don't know. I'm gonna be so for real right now. I don't know that I wanna give a middle of the book update and then an end of the book update. This isn't that kind of book. I think I'm just gonna wait until I finish it to tell you my overall thoughts about the book. This is a very intimate, yeah, it says intimate and searing memoir. Yeah, it's very intimate. We'll talk about it at the end. I'm gonna clean today, that's my big goal. So maybe, I don't know, maybe in lieu of a midway check-in, I'll put a little time lapse of me cleaning, and yeah. But 2 books that are really like making me feel weird, making my heart feel things. But yeah, okay. Washing my dishes, yes. I actually also washed or cleaned my stove. Don't look too hard because it wasn't perfect. I should have taken a before video so you could see I did a lot of good work, but again, don't look too hard. All right, before you say anything, I know I have already worn this shirt with these clips. I'm supposed to what? Not wear a bop of an outfit again? Hello? So I finished Hunger by Roxane Gay, and okay, I know I talked about how like I was like nauseous from the content. I will say it does move away from that pretty much immediately after I talked about it. There's a lot of like critiques on media. Yeah, this is very important, very touching, very powerful, very uncomfortable, and Gay addresses that herself. She's like, you might be uncomfortable right now. I'm uncomfortable too. I hesitate to write about fat bodies, and my fat body especially. I know that to be frank about my body makes some people uncomfortable. It makes me uncomfortable too. I have been accused of being full of self-loathing and of being fat-phobic. There is truth to the former accusation, and I reject the latter. I do, however, live in a world where the open hatred of fat people is vigorously tolerated and encouraged. I am a product of my environment. You already know whether this is going to be for you or not, and if you're someone who struggles with that in such a way that you're sensitive to this kind of content. Like, she talks about calories, she talks about weight, She gives numbers to those things. She, gets very explicit about the feelings she has about her weight, and if that's something that can throw off your recovery, then you don't need to engage in this. It's told in very short chapters, very short bursts, right? Like because one chapter is another one. Almost like vignettes a little bit. So very good like introspection and reflection and saying out loud, straight up, like the unfeminist thing, which is like, look, I'm someone in a fat body and I hate that I'm in a fat body and I wish I was skinnier. And also intellectually, I know that my body is not the problem. It's the world it lives in and the way it's not accommodating. So it's very honest. It's unflinching and it's honest. Yeah, if you like this, you probably already listened to the podcast, but in case not, you should listen to Maintenance Phase with Michael Hobbs and Aubrey Gordon. It's a really, really incredible podcast about diet culture and its pervasiveness in our society. And I remember that because she has a little thing about Oprah, and they talk about Oprah on that podcast as well. All right, so 2 down, 2 to go. I think next I'm gonna read Fat and Queer, which is the anthology. And yeah, I'll check in when I'm about halfway through. It's gonna be interesting because it's different authors. I don't think I've ever read an anthology before. So it'll be interesting to see how I talk about it. Hello, I came to the beach today. I brought my mic. It's a big old mic. I'm reading Fat and Queer, and I'm maybe 3 or 4 or 5 stories in. And I think it's only I would say only 1 or 2, but that's like 50%. So far the rate is 50% that I liked and 50% that I'm like, meh. Oh. Okay, we'll get the corner shot of me. So the plan for today is to finish Fat and Queer, reporting live from the cloudy, gloomy beach. Ay. The sun is here. The clouds have cleared. I've been making my way through this anthology. I'm on page 104. And I will say there's like 3 or 4 stories in a row that I was like, oh, I love this one. Oh, I love this one. Oh, I love this one. The first one that I really, really liked because there was just a concept that I never considered. It's called The Gender Nonconformity of My Fatness by Caleb Luna. In some ways, I feel like my fatness arrests my gender. Regardless of how I feel and how I view my gender, there are material limits to what gender my body is allowed, or more appropriately, disallowed to access. And I thought that was so interesting and something that I never quite thought about, or maybe that I've never thought about, but I've never quite heard it articulated in this way. And this idea, like, yeah, what if you're in a fat curvy body, and even when you wear a binder, there's no denying your curves, and therefore we as a society look at your body and assume womanhood in your gender. In that instance, your fatness would arrest your gender. Your fatness is limiting your gender expression. So I really like that one. And then immediately after, what a great choice by the editors, immediately after is one called Incorrect Attribution, A Collision of Fatness and Gender by Alyssa Roth. And I hope this microphone is helping because, people are screaming. This piece by Alyssa Roth is immediately following, and actually an immediate conversation and response to the one I just referenced. And in this one, it says, my gender and my fatness are inextricably linked and sometimes even undo each other. And this is actually about someone who wants to be associated with masculinity more, but their body and what we consider to be like womanly curves and the fatness, it doesn't allow it. Here's what Alyssa Roth says: "But I would be lying if I said I sometimes did not resent the fattest parts of myself for how they interact with my gender and for how I cannot consent to how they interact with my gender." I love that. I think that's very interesting. And yeah, this idea that you can control your clothing, you can control your hair, and the truth is, as much as we would love to think that fatness is a choice, and for some people it is, you know, this book is helping me see that, oh, for some people fatness is a choice, but fatness is not something you can control, and that can be very, very tough when it erases the gender you wish to express. So yeah, this has been very interesting. The first like 2-ish stories, I was like, yeah, I'm not loving them. They're not bad, but I'm just like, oh. So it was kind of like a hard momentum in the beginning, but there's like 4 or 5 in a row that I really love. So hopefully I get more of that. Fair warning, I just drank some coffee. And I don't drink coffee for lots of reasons. I've never gotten to the habit. I don't like the taste. I've never liked the taste of it. Probably most importantly, it makes me feel, which is very uncomfortable. I almost feel like I get like heart flutters. And that's happening right now. I finished Fat and Queer, an anthology of queer and trans bodies and lives. And I have to say this was very average for me. And I feel bad saying that. I think this is so important. And I think the content was really, how do I explain it? I think the content was good. And I liked the variety of topics it took on. You know, there's stuff I learned and that I had never heard of. There's one essay that I referenced in the last video about gender and fatness. The intersection of those two being very complicated in that they can undo each other. And I really enjoyed that. But to be honest, the reason this feels very average to me is that I feel like there was a big gap, or I think there's a big range in quality. And I'm specifically talking about like the craft of writing. I think some of these were written really well, and some of these felt a little bit, how do I say this like nicely? How do I say this while like, you know, considering that like people really wrote this, and I had no issue with any of the content. It was just the writing. Some of these felt very like college entrance essays. The quality wasn't as good, and that's just like the truth. That's the truth of it, or rather, maybe that's not the truth of it. That's my opinion on it. And so that was very sort of distracting. It was jarring to go from really good ones to some that felt very like they needed to be worked on. Oh, okay. So this one, Heretic Body by Nina Marie Ochoa. This was one that I really enjoyed the writing of. It says, stretch marks like the rippled veins of light at the bottom of a swimming pool. That's so good, and I can visualize that so well. I can't recommend the collection as a whole. That being said, I still think you should read it. Does that make sense? Like, what you gain from it is more important than whether it was written incredibly. Another one I really liked was I think my favorite in the whole collection was The End of the World by C. Adan Cabrera, and Dropping Fictions and Gaining Visibility by Bruce Owens Grimm, who is one of the editors. Oh, 7 Unsatiated Appetites by Aubrey Gordon, but I don't know if it's biased because I love everything Aubrey Gordon has ever done. It's also just a fact that she's an incredible writer. So I'm not gonna lie, I'm like a little disappointed because I had so much high hope. I mean, Fat and Queer, like, yes, dude. I thought it was average. I wasn't like upset with it, but I did notice myself not wanting to I wasn't excited to pick it up. And every couple of pages I would like get distracted. I would like look around or check my phone. I just wasn't super engaged. I don't know if what I'm saying is unique to this anthology, or maybe that's the thing with anthologies in general. You do get quite a variety of really well-crafted ones and ones that you're not as impressed with. Maybe that's the nature of an anthology. This is my first one. Am I gonna keep it? Am I gonna keep it? I will let you know by the end of this video. I don't know. I have to think about whether I'm gonna keep it or not. I started reading Fun Home by Alison Bechdel. Guys, it is so good. It is so good and so tragic, but so good. Like I'm 50 or so pages in. I'm like, oh, this is why. This is like a freaking classic in queer lit. Like, this is why it got made into a Broadway musical. Who knew? Everyone, apparently. Everyone except me. The writing is so good. The structure, the storytelling, the actual illustrations are incredible. I'm literally Googling, like, is Fun Home the musical playing anywhere? Like, how do I go watch this musical? It's truly a tragic comic. I'm calling it now. That's gonna be my favorite of all the 4 books I read for this video. Okay, I can easily finish that today. Well, not easily, I'm a slow reader, but I can finish that today. So goal number 1, finish Fun Home. Goal number 2, I need to clean the bathroom, dude. It's my least favorite chore, and so I just kind of never get around to it. I need to clean the bathroom, but I also need to wash the dishes. Again, I've washed the dishes like 4 times since that last dishwashing montage, because there's always new dishes to wash. Sorry, my heart is like, I feel like I can't really breathe. Yeah, finish Fun Home, wash the dishes, clean the bathroom, and let's throw in like a fun goal. So book, chore, and it's so hot. My instinct is to say like go on a walk, but it's so hot. I don't really want to leave that. I'm literally sweating because I turned off the fan for the sound. I need to turn that fan right back on as soon as I finish recording this. Maybe my fun goal will be, do I not know how to have fun? Maybe my fun goal will be, well, this is embarrassing. Goodbye. Guys, this book is bringing tears to my eyes. I'm 120 pages in. I just got to the end of chapter 4. I think this might be the best book I've read this entire year. Oh my god, I'm so excited to have read it. Well, I haven't finished it. I kind of don't want to finish it today. I kind of want to like prolong the experience. Wow. Wow. I haven't even attempted the chores yet. I'm just reading the book and wow. I just got a heart flutter again from the coffee. I washed the dishes. I cleaned the bathroom. I did kind of skimp out on the way I cleaned the shower. It was very surface level, but I was sweating. I was sweating from all the cleaning. So I did my chores, so there's really nothing left to do but to finish what I think is gonna be my favorite book of the year. So next update will be to let you know and to wrap everything up. And yeah, if you can hear noise, it's because I'm currently making some reverse osmosis water. It's so funny because whenever we need water, we have to make it. This must be what it's like to go get water from the well. I'm like, we're out of water? We've got to make some and wait 3 minutes. But yeah, I'll let you know. I've figured out what my fun thing is going to be. Ready? So I just finished Fun Home. Well, not just finished. I finished it probably like 5 minutes ago, but I've just sort of been sitting here contemplating and thinking, and oh my gosh, it brought tears to my eyes, and it was such a melancholic yet hopeful ending. It's the best book I've read this year. 100%. There's like no competition. Hey! Okay, so editing Cherry. Ooh, I just spit. The wind just started cutting out too much audio. So I'm just gonna tell you what I was saying. I was saying that I hadn't yet said what this book is about. And then I just proceeded to read the synopsis because I didn't want to give away any more than I needed to, because I went in knowing nothing. And I tend to not even read the synopsis of some stories when I just know they're going to be good. So it doesn't matter what it's about. But anyways, let me read this for you. In this groundbreaking, best-selling graphic memoir, Alison Bechdel charts her fraught relationship with her late father. In her hands, personal history becomes a work of amazing subtlety and power. Written with controlled force and enlivened with humor, rich literary allusion, and heartbreaking detail. And I really think that's all you should know going in. Back to Cherry on the scene in the wind. I'm just gonna stay here for the next hour or two. I brought binoculars in case I want to do some amateur birding. These are not even quality binoculars. These help me see like 10 feet away, maybe. I'm gonna see if I can stay to watch the sunset, especially after this. Like, the sunset really plays at the end of chapter 5. The scene with the sunset, and it's just heartbreaking. And so it feels appropriate for me to stay and watch the sunset. Hey! The video's done. I'm going to stack my books in order of most to least enjoyed. Most enjoyed on the top. I think this is my order. These two are kind of interchangeable, actually. I enjoy them pretty much equally, which is to say I really, really like them. New favorite book of the year. I mean, and then a little underwhelmed. Thank you to my partner for the book picks. I don't think I would have gotten to any of these books nearly as quickly as I did if it weren't for this video. So thank you so much, and thank you for watching. Still thinking what my next video concept will be, but I hope you will be there to find out. Thank you. Bye. Oh, perfect ending.